If you think an MVP is simply just a bad version of your first product, you're wrong. And sadly, a lot of people think that way. And there's a lot of people out there simply think that they need to build an MVP because they have to be lean, but they don't know why and what that means. They just do it because I want to do a startup, so I must build an MVP. Firstly, let's go literal. What does MVP mean? It means minimum viable product. Obviously, it doesn't mean the most valuable player. MVP is a concept from the Lean Startup Framework. What is the essence of an MVP? Is it the least amount of effort to sell your product or launch your product and get a write-up on TechCrunch? No, your MVP is using the least amount of effort and resources to get to the point of whether or not a customer will say, yes, I'm interested in it. To put it into perspective, let's say you're trying to build a new roller coaster theme park. How would you MVP it? Do you just build one of the rides but not all 40 of them and test that out? Or would you build a miniature model that shows all of the rides and including where the candy bar is and everything else? Do you think there's the absolute minimum you could do to get to a point where someone says yes or no in a validated, testable environment? Well, no. You can do a considerable amount less. Building one ride or building a miniature model could get you to that point, absolutely. But you could have spent a fraction of that time and resources and just build, for instance, a page that illustrates what you are going to build and when you are opening and start taking pre-orders. That only takes a fraction of the effort to get a quick answer on whether people are interested or not. I'll give you another example. How would you MVP Uber if you were Garrett or Travis back when they first started? You would need a map view, right? You need real-time GPS tracking. You need an algorithm to calculate the nearest driver, the estimated arrival time, and an estimated fare for the trip. You also need automatic credit card payment. It definitely needs to be a mobile app because users are using it on the go. And you need to at least have both the iOS and Android version, right? Otherwise, you're missing out on a big chunk of the market. And wait, you also need a driver's app so they can take orders and manage their trips. And you probably need a marketing website to promote yourself so users can sign up. And wait, we will need one for the drivers as well. And after all that, you imagine the day when you launch, it's gonna look like this. Guess what Garrett and Travis had when they first launched? This is all they have. Text us your address and we'll send you the nearest driver and text you an estimated arrival time. The driver will text you again when he or she arrives. And when you hop into the car, don't forget to tell your driver your destination. And it's $15 minimum. The formula is there. You'll have to work it out yourself. Sign up now. If you have the same idea as Garrett and Travis back then, and you both are working on the same idea simultaneously, let's say you went on to build a full app before you launch and they launch with that simple landing page. By the time you finish building the app, and only if you don't give up or run out of money in the middle, they would have captured the entire San Francisco market already and ran hundreds of transactions manually. They would have understood their customers a lot more than you, and because they already have transactions, they can attract drivers so much easier than you. They are also in the radar for VCs to invest in because they now have traction, but you don't. You only have an imaginary product which no one has ever used. The ultimate aim of running MVP experiment is to as quickly as possible find out that one single thing which motivates people to buy. And the one key element to understand is that at different stages of your idea, your MVP comes in different shapes or forms. An MVP is not a destination, it's an evolving process. At a very infancy stage, it might just be a social media post with a graphic and a headline. Because at this stage, you are just trying to see if people will actually click on it. And if they don't, what's the point of having a built product? And as you nurture and develop the idea further, an MVP might look like a more beefed up landing page, encouraging people to put down the email in exchange for an early bird access to your solution. And as you go further, it might become an even more beefed up landing page showcasing more of your product features with different pricing plans to test out the price point, etc. And if the idea survives all of that, your MVP might look like a stitch up of various tools, creating a semi-functional product where your early adopters would use. Like the Uber example, they're just running their business on text messages. Alright, so hopefully that gives you a better understanding of what MVP means.